I'm giving away an Apple Vision Pro to someone who is watching or listening to this. This series is called Whale Informed, and it's a series where I'm collaborating with Triple Whale to bring you the most interesting stuff that happened in the last week. This week, we're talking about the launch of the Apple Vision Pro, and as I mentioned, I'm giving one away. More details on that in just a second. We're also going to talk about how much money influencers are making. It's actually pretty surprising. We're going to touch base on TikTok, specifically the TikTok shop. We're going to talk about how Liquid Death sells canned water for $2 a pop. And we're going to talk about the loyalty program that Kith just launched. Might be the best loyalty program ever. So let's get into the Apple Vision Pro. I am giving one away. It's officially for pre-sale at $3,500. Someone who is listening to this or watching this is going to win one. Here's what you need to do to win it. You need to follow me wherever you're watching or subscribe wherever you're watching. And then I'm going to basically tell you what's going on with the Apple Vision Pro and what the controversy is around this product. And I have a question for you after I present that to you. So it's just going to be a couple minutes. I'm going to show you sort of both sides of this argument. And then I need you to weigh in on what I think is the most important question here. So let's get into this. So first, I want to share a post by Trung Fan, who's, if you're on Twitter, definitely one of my favorite people to follow on Twitter. So Trung posted a Office meme, classic Office meme, and he said, Spotify, Netflix, and YouTube refusing to put their apps on the Vision Pro app after Apple spent the last decade strong-arming them on the App Store's 30% tax and external web link restrictions. And it's a meme from The Office, the American Office, of Michael Scott when he's coming back and selling his Michael Scott paper company back to The Office, or back to Dunder Mifflin. And yeah, so basically this is what's going on here is these major apps like YouTube and Spotify, Netflix, they're not going to put an app on the Apple Vision Pro. There's a report, there's a couple talking points here. So first of all, and this is from Michael Gurman from Bloomberg News. He says, so first one point is some developers feel that their applications don't translate well to the Vision Pro's mixed reality environment. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Does YouTube really translate well to that sort of fully immersive world? Okay, that's a valid point. And he said, developers saw the poor performance of Apple's last 3 new app stores, which were ones for TV, watches, and iMessage, and they don't want to participate until they know the Vision Pro will be successful. All right, so basically they don't think their apps will be very good on a Vision Pro, and they don't know if people are actually going to buy this thing. In other words, it costs money to develop the app for the Vision Pro device, and they don't know if they're going to make a return on that investment. So this is the Netflix CEO. Somebody asked him about it, and he said, "What's the effort to integrate on any given set of devices, and what's the benefit for the members that we serve? So how much does it cost us to put our app on the Vision Pro, and how many people are actually going to use this thing?" He said, we have to be careful about making sure that we're not investing in places that are not really yielding a return. And I would say we'll see where things go with Vision Pro. Certainly, we're always at discussions with Apple to try and figure it out, but the device is so subscale that it's not really particularly relevant to our members. That's actually low-key shade from the Netflix CEO. Calling it subscale, that's like Silicon Valley speak for that's like a cute little thing that you have. Maybe a few 100,000 people like that. It's subscale. So yeah, I mean, basically the issue is on the one side, Apple Vision Pro needs people's favorite apps in order for it to get adoption, but a lot of people's favorite apps are deciding that they don't want to be on it unless they know people are really going to adopt it. So this is a post by Packy McCormick, who's a pretty well-known investor, and he said, he's just leaving this here, his spiciest take: Apple will not be a top 10 company by market cap by the end of this decade. So by the end of 2020s, they won't be a top 10 company in the stock market. His thesis is that abusing your suppliers is phenomenal for business until it's not. And that's his point about them strong arming the app companies and charging a 30% rip on their revenue. That's a really high rip. So that's one side of the argument on this Apple Vision Pro thing. Here is the other side of the argument.
is a big day because it's the first day you can officially order the Apple Vision Pro. Now I know what you're thinking. This thing is so overrated, super heavy. There's not gonna be any useful apps for it. $3,600 is a complete ripoff. And I hear all that and agree actually. But let me paint a different picture. If you could go back to 2008, knowing what you know now, what would you work on? If you care about money or impact, the answer is gonna be something related to the iPhone. Because the iPhone changed everything. It was the first major platform shift from desktop to mobile. And if you missed that wave, you've probably kicked yourself because there was so much opportunity. Well, it's been 16 years, and I think mixed reality is finally here as the next wave. And if this becomes the go-to computing experience, think about all the things that are gonna have to be rebuilt from the ground up. Video and sports, a completely new advertising model, virtual retailers, live events, immersive gaming, productivity software, the list goes on. These are trillion-dollar industries, and almost every single one of them is up for grabs again. Now, this first generation Vision Pro is not gonna be the one that hundreds of millions of people buy. It's just too early, too expensive, and the app ecosystem is too new. But if I've learned anything from studying internet businesses over the past decade, it's that you want to be early to these waves. There are going to be thousands of winners, but as long as you're in the water, you're going to get a chance to surf. I'm going to buy the Vision Pro and make a bunch of content using it. So if you want to see what happens, follow along.
Okay, this is a valid point. I will say that, we thought Wii would change video games. Nintendo Wii would change video games. We thought Snapchat would be a legitimate competitor for Facebook and Instagram. We thought Vine would be the same thing. We're notoriously bad at predicting this stuff, and this is where you come in and you could potentially win an Apple Vision Pro. He is right that the last time that Apple launched a device, over the next 16 years, it changed the world. All the biggest companies that have been built were rocket fueled by the fact that we carry the internet around in our pocket all the time. The internet went from this keyboard to this device that's in our pocket, and that created the Facebooks and the Googles that really put rocket fuel on their growth. And subsequently, that even created brands like BarkBox and Glossier and a lot of the physical product brands, Dollar Shave Club, etc., that have been built over the last little bit. And that could happen with the Apple Vision Pro, but it comes down to adoption. We all adopted this idea that we're fine carrying the internet around in our pocket. So will the Apple Vision Pro get adopted? And this is where you come in. I need you to answer this question. Would you be willing to adopt a world and live in a world where many of our interactions that currently happen in person would happen virtually, right? We would go to virtual church. We would, go to work virtually if we work in person. We would basically do a lot of the stuff we do now in person at home. We would do that at home. And would you be willing to adopt that world? Going to the grocery store, going to the store, period, going and meeting friends for coffee. Would you be willing to do that virtually instead of in person? Because if we're willing to do that virtually and we're willing to adopt that sort of Ready Player One type of environment, then the Apple Vision Pro will get adoption. It will get big, and every business that rides this wave will succeed. Now, a lot of surfing is just sitting on the water and reading the waves and looking for the right one. And that's what I'm trying to do here. And so I need a lot of people to comment on this. This is why I'm giving away an Apple Vision Pro to somebody who answers this question. So follow me and like this video, obviously, wherever you're watching. If you are listening on audio, you can find me on YouTube or on Twitter at JohnJHCoyle, and you can comment on this video and answer that question. Would you be willing to adopt a world where a lot of our interactions happen virtually instead of in person? And, bonus if you can tell me why or why not, because I think that's sort of the crux of the issue here. All right, next thing. Let's do that. So do that. Get entered to win an Apple Vision Pro. Let's talk about influencers. Check out this video.
Be a rude awakening for influencers this year, and one number tells it all: $323.19. So what is that number? Well, we surveyed 5,920 influencers, marketers, and content creators. The average monthly income that they generated from their social media profiles is $323.19. Even with the users that had between 100,000 followers and 999,000 followers, their average income didn't improve by much. They were generating $1,000 $3,727.29 a month on average. And it didn't get much better for the users that had over a million followers. Their average income generated was $6,109.83 a month. So why isn't influencer marketing working, at least for a career? It's because way too many people create content for the masses. If you aren't known for something specific, it's hard to monetize. Focus on building a community around something specific. For example, I'm known for marketing. I monetize my profiles to generate more marketing clients for my ad agency, NP Digital. You don't see me posting motivational quotes. If you want to be an influencer, don't go after the masses. Instead, go after a massive TAM. And next time someone asks you if you want 1 million followers or $1 million, you may want to consider the $1 million. Even with the 1 million followers, it would take a bit more than 13 years to make $1 million.
So this is an interesting point. He's essentially saying that there's no middle class for influencers. So I did the math really quick. If you have more than 1 million followers, then you make around $72,000 a year. There's a lot of jobs where you can make $70,000 to $80,000 a year that are easier to get qualified for than it is to build 1 million follower audience. It's really, really hard to build 1 million follower audience. He's got a really good point here, and it's kind of counterintuitive because when you try and grow an audience on social media, the best thing you can do is be like very broadly appealing to a lot of people, right? If you talk about something that a lot of people can relate to, or show something that a lot of people can relate to, or you make comedy videos, you need a lot of people to be able to relate to the content you make in order to grow a big following. But if you make content that a lot of people can relate to, it's hard to monetize those people because, you know, nobody really knows what to sell them. The brands that come to work with you, they're like, well, what kind of people are in your audience? And you're like, everybody. And if you're everything to everyone, you're kind of nothing to anyone. So it does get hard to monetize, but it's a lot harder to grow when you're niche, like he's saying. So this is kind of what we're doing with this content at Triple Whale. We help e-commerce companies at Triple Whale, companies that sell physical products online. But the content we're making right now is just the most interesting stuff we thought about in the last week that is related to business, tech, entrepreneurship. Some of it is e-commerce. The idea here is that you need to make content that is like broad enough that a lot of people will find it interesting, but the bucket of people that you really want to reach and sell to is within that bucket of broader content. Being broad can still work, but you have to reach mass scale. Obviously, the Kardashians / Jenners, very wealthy, but you have to reach mass scale. So here's an example of where the scale at which being broad works.
Is how you execute a Valentine's Day campaign. Skims launched their Valentine's collection with a great anchor influencer, our collective mother, Lana Del Rey. First of all, getting Lana for anything is about the highest tier of win a brand can get. We'll get to that later. As far as art direction,
I disagree with that. Taylor Swift is the highest tier of win a brand can get, but go on.
She is in a heart-shaped box, a full range of coquette, and a very rare non-tacky execution of the Arrow theme. They're doing an awful lot to move some heart pattern bodysuits. Just excellence overall from photographer Nadia Lee Cohen, who's been redefining significantly the look with which Kim and her brands approach the market. And for those asking why Lana would do something like this is just as important of a promo moment for her as it is for Skims. This campaign launched 2 days after her Coachella headlining announcement. And this is actually a trend I've noticed with Skims. When they launched men's, Kim put the pictures not just on the Skims feed, but also on her feed. And her Instagram feed is essentially the mega grail of modern media exposure, which to me implies these celebrities do these deals with Skims not just for the Skims check, but also as a key component of their own promotion as part of the Kardashians power complex. This is something medium brands think about a lot as well. How can you combine with anchor influencers who are looking for their promotional moments and make sure you're benefiting both sides?
This is actually a really good point. I think even if you're a smaller brand and you're looking for to work with creators, you can pay them in money, but you can also pay them in exposure, right? That's what Kim's doing here. You know, they probably did have to pay Lana Del Rey, but I bet they didn't have to pay her as much because she knew she was basically going to get featured by Kim Kardashian, which is huge. So you can do the same thing if you're a brand. You have an email list, you have an Instagram following or a social media following. If you're established at all, you have this stuff. And part of what you can pay them is exposure. If you want to see a good example of this, go to True Classic Tees. So True Classic TEE. True Classic Tees Instagram account. True Classic Tees, friend of Triple Whale. They do this with like comedian influencers, people who do comedy skits. Like if you've seen comedy skits on Instagram or YouTube, they partner with people who do comedy skits and they do collab posts with them. So they get exposure by being on True Classic Tees Instagram, and then True Classic Tees gets funny, good content by partnering with them. And then they partner with a group of them. True Classic Tees Instagram grows. And then the exposure that they can offer to these skit creators is even higher. So it's a very, I don't know, there's probably some buzzword, right? Symbiotic or something like that. It's a very symbiotic relationship. And a lot of brands could do a better job at this instead of just doing some kind of cash exchange with influencers. Influencers should look to do more of this as well as integrate into brands. Like, just I'll make 15 pieces of content for you a month for your organic socials, and I'll make ads for you and just get paid a monthly fee. That's how influencers that are smaller, to the point of them not making very much money, that's how influencers who are smaller could be making more money. Speaking of influencers, let's talk about TikTok, specifically the TikTok shop. The TikTok shop is blowing up. Just to sort of give you like the background on this news, a lot of brands are making significant money on the TikTok shop. I'm going to cover that in a second. But also creators, when they tag products from the TikTok shop in their video, which they can tag any product from any brand that has their stuff in the TikTok shop. When the creators are tagging products from the TikTok shop in their video, TikTok is giving their videos more reach. So this has been a win-win for brands and creators. But there could be a downside to this. Is it the next big opportunity? I think there could be a downside. I'm going to present that as well. But first, let's talk about the wins. Let's talk about the case studies here, because that's what's fun. If you're a brand owner, if you're an entrepreneur, this is what you want to kind of know about. So this brand, Tarte, I think it's Tarte. I don't think it's Tarte. It's a cosmetics brand, so I'm not familiar with it, even though it's huge. Tarte has sold 578,000 products on the TikTok shop. Jeez, that is a lot. Like, think about like a room. Like, think about trying to put 578,000 like makeup kits in a room. Like, you need a huge room. Like 570, that's an unfathomable number. They're also reporting a triple-digit halo effect on retail stores for products featured in the shop. I don't know what he means by triple-digit. Maybe he means they're selling hundreds of extra products per day at retail stores and on Amazon and stuff like that. They're a multi-9-figure revenue brand, which means they make multiple hundreds of millions of dollars per year in revenue. They're very big. They're in every retail store that you would go to. They're in the mall. They're everywhere. They're already doing 10 million in revenue. 10 million in revenue is not incredibly significant for a brand doing that much in overall revenue. But it's not nothing. I mean, 10 million is huge for a lot of smaller brands. And I'm going to get to that in a second too. There's a smaller brand that competes with Tarte Cosmetics on TikTok. They reportedly have not invested a single dollar in growing their shop. So this isn't paid. It's all organic, live streams, and affiliates. So it's them posting their organic content. It's affiliates, which means just other TikTok creators, people making videos on TikTok and tagging their products, and live streams. They go live and probably do live get ready with me's or live makeup tutorials or things like that. And they tag the products in their live streams. The Tarte CEO said it best. Social media used to be for awareness only. This is a quote. Social media used to be for awareness only, but now social commerce innovations are collapsing the funnel so you can discover a product and buy it within a minute on the same platform. I don't think he said it well at all. He used like so many $20 words there. Basically, all he said is like, you used to not sell very many products with social media. It used to just kind of be a place where you could get eyeballs, but people wouldn't buy. And because TikTok has sort of innovated and done a good job of building the TikTok shop, now people are discovering us and buying in one fell swoop. The CMO hit it spot on. TikTok shop is the first significant social commerce that we've seen in the US. We don't have any other channels like this right now, but we're both getting brand content in the world and producing direct revenue from it. So basically, again, lots of $20 words there, but he said basically the same thing as the CEO. This is interesting. So this brand, Paul J, commented on this and he said, Tarte is crushing it. BK Beauty. So BK Beauty is his brand. BK Beauty is a brand that works with Tripawell, uses Tripawell. BK Beauty is often right beside them on TikTok shop leaderboard. And some days we're ahead of them. what else? Where else can a low 8-figure brand, so a brand that makes maybe $10 million a year in revenue, can compete with a brand that is worth $3.8 billion? And that is pretty cool. That is a pretty cool thing about the TikTok shop. And to the points that the CMO and CEO of Tart are making, even though they're using a lot of big words, social shopping is a huge thing, and a lot of people have been trying to nail it. Instagram has nailed it, and they have not quite hit it. So here's a quick video from Kane, same guy who made the video about the Apple Vision Pro, about how he would do Instagram shop better. Because if somebody can do this, and basically how he'd do it better and how important it is as well,
is a big day.
That's the Apple Vision Pro video. Let's find this one. All right, here we go.
Opportunity in social media is for Instagram to figure out shopping. It's a $100 billion prize. Here's exactly how I'd build it if I were.
This is why all the social platforms want to figure it out, is because they feel like it's a huge moneymaker. It's a big win for brands. It's a big win for creators. It's a big win for them. But I think they're overlooking something. And I'm going to get to that in a second as well. I have some evidence to support that.
Running product at Instagram. When a user is scrolling through Reels, they should be able to tap on any product at any time and one click add that product to a cart. Could be a shirt the creator's wearing, a piece of furniture in the background, or of course the product that the video is actually about. But the key is, this would be completely frictionless for the user. They can just keep watching, keep scrolling, adding products to cart without ever leaving the Reels feed. When they're done watching Reels, they can just go to their cart, decide what they want to keep, and then one click check out everything. As a user, think about all the things you see in Reels that you want to buy, but the creator never mentions or tags. This would solve all of that. Now for creators, this is also the dream affiliate program. Before you post your video, you'd search a huge database to find relevant products to tag. And this is where the magic comes in. Instagram's platform uses AI and computer vision to automatically apply those tags to when the products show up in the video. So the creator doesn't need to waste time picking where those tags go in the timeline. Now for brands, this is also a dream scenario because it helps them convert and attribute a bunch of sales that were previously lost. More revenue with tighter attribution. Instagram tried to build shopping once, but they failed because they built it with brands at the center. That was the wrong strategy. You need creators at the center with aligned incentives. And if Instagram can't build this infrastructure themselves, they should partner with Amazon and Shopify to build the back end. In my mind, this is a win-win-win, and the AI tech just got good enough to make it work.
He makes some good points, but I'm going to disagree with two major points he made. He says you need to build it with creators at the center. I disagree with that, and I'm going to get to that in a second. But the other thing he says is that it's a win-win-win. I don't know that it's a win for the users. I think one major flaw with what he said there is that if you add a bunch of products to your cart, basically all you're doing is just saving products. Now, if you ever actually want to buy something, you have like 20 products in your cart. Like, you don't just like, oh, I'm done with my Reels watching session now, let me check out my cart and see what I want to buy. That's not how you use social media. You know it, I know it. You're in line at Starbucks, you're like, you just put your phone away, right? So that's just not how it's used. And I think your cart would just become this like big stockpile of stuff. So then you'd be like, well, I don't want to buy anything because I'd have to clear a bunch of stuff out of my cart, and I don't want to clear it because I wanted to save it. So maybe if there was a save feature that would help, I don't know. But I think there's some problems with this, that being one of them. The other being this, and that is that the users, he said, you got to put the creators at the center instead of the brands at the center. He also said it's a win-win-win. What he meant by that is that it's a win for the creators, it's a win for the brands, and it's a win for Instagram. But what about the users? It has to be a win for the users, and the users have to be at the center. So TikTok has gotten the closest to nailing social shopping. As you saw from that sort of Tarte Cosmetics and BK Beauty thing that I just showed, I also have worked with a brand that does $20 million a year, $20 to $30 million a year, just being live on TikTok all day selling products. But here is the major problem. If you build shopping right, like TikTok has done, and like he's saying that Instagram could do if they listen to him, will it affect the users? And most importantly, will it affect your algorithm? Your algorithm affects the users. So the reason, and then TikTok has nailed this, and they've let it affect their algorithm. And now they're showing more videos with tag products. They have a live feed that's basically all live shopping. And this post by Ash sort of reflects a lot of what I've seen from TikTok users on other platforms, a lot of what I've seen them complaining about. And Ash said, this is Ashwin Melwani. He is the founder of Obvi, which is a supplement brand that sells collagen. He said, anyone else scrolling right past any TikTok videos with a shop link attached, or is it just me? And then this reply, I think, is very important and is basically the sentiment that I've seen from a lot of people. He said, this is Colin Slatter, he said, I've completely stopped using TikTok because of it. That's huge. If people are stopping using this app, I'm going to just show you more of these comments. Ash's partner, Ron, says, no, that's just you. I'm shopping. I think he's joking. Fraser Cottrell said, yes, I've even blocked the hashtag TikTok shop. This guy says, same, but I've also stopped using TikTok altogether because of shop promotions. It feels like every other clip has the buy button included, and it's a huge turnoff. This guy says, nope, me too. I scroll right past them. I hate them. So you basically have people saying, and then another one who said, I haven't opened that app in months because of it. So you basically have lots of people who are replying to this and saying, this is one of his most engaged posts. Lots of people who are basically replying and saying, yeah, I haven't even I either scroll right past them like you're saying, or I've completely stopped using the app because it sucks because there's so many promoted products. So once you nail shopping, if you let that influence the algorithm, that's the big thing, right? So at the end of the day, the question is, do users actually want to shop while they're using social media like Instagram or TikTok? I don't think so. Now, if you make it convenient for them, they will probably buy some stuff. Brands will see a lift. Creators and affiliates will make a little bit more money. But if you let it influence the algorithm in this way that's really juicy for brands like Tarte Cosmetics and really juicy for creators that are making a lot of money on affiliate revenue from this, if you do that, then you're going to have this effect by TikTok. Maybe it's worth the trade-off. Maybe TikTok makes more money and everybody makes more money, and it's only 10% of users who don't like this. But if this thing flattens their growth curve and their users become less sticky, then they're either going to decide that they're a smaller social media platform that is very shopping focused, or they're going to reverse out of this and it's going to become less juicy for brands and for creators. That's my call. That's my prediction. Let me know what you think about it too, though. Let's talk about Liquid Death. Liquid Death sells canned water. It sounds like an idea that if pitched on Shark Tank, people would be like, you're going to can water and sell it. I'm out, right? Like, it just sounds like a dumb idea, but Liquid Death has somehow nailed it. The main way they've nailed it, I think everyone can agree, is that they're hilarious. You go to any of their socials, you see any of their commercials, anything like that, and they're like legit very funny. TikTok on the brain still. The Liquid Death creative director spoke about this. He did an interview. He did a podcast interview, and these are some quotes that got compiled from the interview. So this guy, shout out to Jason Mitchell, who compiled these quotes from Liquid Death's creative director's interview about how they've kind of done what they've done. How are they selling canned water for $2 a pop? Or $2 a water, because it's not pop. Get it? It was a pun. All right. So a couple quotes here that I think are incredibly good. He said, our competition is not other brands in the category. It's other things that you see in your social feed. That's our competition. I think this is this is like a great mindset, because when you're scrolling through social media and you see a piece of content from a brand, you either scroll right past it, or like maybe you're semi-interested, maybe you might buy, maybe whatever. But like for the most part, you're kind of like, ugh. And even if it's a great piece of content from a brand, it still has this like brand feel to it. It's not quite as good as like that next piece of content you scroll to and is from, a comedian or from, a content creator that you just really like. You enjoy their content for content's sake. The brand one is always sort of selling the product a little bit, right? So he's saying, we're not competing in the brand game. We're not playing in the branded social media game. That's like the B team of social media. Like, no, we're playing on the A team. We're playing against the other content creators. We want to be funny compared to them, right? We want to be funny compared to the comedians. And this goes to his next quote here that I'm going to read that I think is great. There's a difference between ad funny and real funny. Look at 96% of beer ads. I love the very specific 96, not 99, not 90, 96. 96% of beer ads, they're always held up as this funny ad. And it's like, no, it's not funny. It's just a funny ad. And I think that's an important distinction. Our goal is to make something that's flat out funny, not just a funny ad. If you go see stand-up comedy, it is not funny on the same scale that a Bud Light ad is funny. And this is a great point. And what he's saying is like Liquid Death, again, we're not playing in the B tier. We're not playing on the B team. We're playing on the A team. We want to be as funny as the content that you see from comedians. We want to be like belly laugh funny, which is why they partner with like legit comedians. And I think they actually even employ a full-time comedian. Next quote, he said, the world lives on Instagram and TikTok, and our brand needs to fit within that world. And it's made up of real people and interesting stuff, and it's not made up of brands, and it doesn't have these rigid rules. So we've started to think less of Liquid Death, the brand, and more of Liquid Death, the character. Again, that's it. It's like every, even great pieces of branded content or even funny ads always have this like little smell, right? Like, it's like, you know, when something's like, oh yeah, that's good. It's like when you eat some food, somebody gives you some food, you eat it and you're like, it's pretty good, but I don't know. It tastes a little off, like health food usually, right? Like better for you food. It's like, it's fine. I can eat it, but it's just a little off, right? Like it's like, I know it's good for me. And that's what branded content is. It's like, yeah, it's fine. You know, I can eat it, but it's just like, you know, it's always selling a little bit, and it's always a little tone deaf. And what he's saying is like, not if you're a person, right? Like if Liquid Death is a person, a character, that's not what we're doing. That's not what it is. We want to be funny on the same level as the comedians, right? I just keep coming back to that statement for me. All right, next quote. We put out so much work continuously, which is how we learn, not by being super constipated over the strategy of the thing. This is where agencies and brands need to unclench themselves. We're all overthinking it. Basically, I bet the question here was like, what's your guys' strategy? How do you come up with ideas? And what he's saying is like, just put stuff out there, like freaking reps. If you put enough content out there, some of it won't be funny, some of it will be funny, but over time, you're just going to learn what people like. Like you get enough reps at anything. Think about the thing you're the best at in the world. What are you the best at in the world? I bet you've done it a crap ton of times, right? That's why you're so good at it. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. How do comedians do this? You know, they kind of come up with a joke. They think up a joke. They don't break it down. They don't talk about the tenets of a joke and does it have this element. They go try it out. And if it doesn't work, you know, they might refine it and they might tweak it over time. Next quote, the brand has to be built into the organization from the very ground up. Everyone has to be committed to the vision. It's not like you can come in and be like, now we will make funny videos and crazy products. There's so much of that groundwork that has to be laid for that stuff to work. This is a fairly corporate-y type of response for someone from Liquid Death, but I get what he means here. So everybody all throughout the company has to be committed to this idea of like, we're just being funny for funny's sake. We're just making content for content's sake. We're not trying to sell the product. The product is there. The product is water. Everybody drinks water. Everybody knows what we're doing. But we're trying to be like a funny person on social media. And that has to be, you know, all the way like top floor down or ground floor up, however you want to look at it. Because an executive, like a CFO, someone who's a finance person, they need to understand that. Because they need to look at it and say like, okay, well, we're doing this weird, stupid product collaboration with Tom Segura, where we're doing a recycling bin where you can put it in Tom Segura's mouth. You know, I guess that's funny, but does it make us any money? We didn't sell very many of these. Like, that's how a lot of CFOs would look at it if they don't understand that culture all the way through. All right, next quote. We're real people making the brand. We aren't some brand guidelines robotically put. We're real people making the brand. We aren't some brand guidelines robotically putting shit out in the world. That's what makes it feel organic and human, right? Like he's basically like, the brand is supposed to be a character. It's supposed to be a person. So we have to act like a person, right? We're not just, you know, here are our colors out there in the world. Here's our Instagram feed that's basically just a wall of like our product in different environments, and our product next to a plant, and our product next to, you know, a hat and on an oak desk. It's like actually a human that you would not post that if you were a human. You wouldn't be like, here's me next to a plant. Like, that's not how you use social media, right? All right, next quote. We should give ourselves creative freedom we should give ourselves creative freedom to make decisions and not have to justify it all the way up the chain of command. We need to give ourselves license to play around more. I mean, I think this kind of speaks to a lot of the same points that the other that the other stuff is spoke to, right? Like, how do comedians do this? They just give themselves the creative freedom to write about what they think is funny, and then they test it out, right? Like, that's it. Don't overthink it. Give yourself the freedom. And then last one, be fearless, not reckless. That's fun. So those are the quotes. I mean, I don't know how much more to say about it. I think Liquid Death is really nailing comedy. They're selling canned water. People, like, if nothing else, then we can look at it and say they canned up water and sold it. They're clearly doing something right. And we can also look at it and say, I legitimately enjoy consuming their content because it's just funny. It doesn't even have to be about the product. I don't have to break it out. Like, I just enjoy it. If I'm scrolling through TikTok and I see a Liquid Death, TikTok skit come up, I might not even know it's a Liquid Death at first. I'm just laughing, just like I am if something comes up from my favorite comedian or one of my favorite content creators that's funny. So kudos to Liquid Death, killing it. Obviously, everybody loves them. From a product standpoint, I think it's nothing special. Makes sense, right? It's water. Like, I don't think it's that special, but their marketing is definitely special. Speaking of special marketing and brands that nail social media, we got to talk about Kith. I think Kith, Kith, may have just launched the best loyalty program ever. Customer loyalty is a pretty boring topic, I'm gonna be honest, but Kith makes it less boring. Talking about making things less boring, Kith makes it less boring. So this is Alexa Kilroy. I'm going to read her post on X or Twitter in a second. Alexa, former Triple Whale team member, awesome person, awesome human being, but also a super fan of Kith, a big time buyer. So before we get into that, I'm actually just going to show you the video of Kith announcing what their loyalty program is, right? So we're going to watch, it's about 1.5 minutes, watch the details, and you'll be able to listen to it if you're on audio. Listen to the details on that, and then we'll get into what she has to say about it.
Hey guys, this week we're launching the Kith Loyalty program on the Kith app. Kith Loyalty uses points to reward members with exclusive access to products. It also gives you access.
Side note, there's been a lot of great background beats in the videos that are in today's episode.
To experiences and a lot of other benefits. All you have to do to become a member is download the Kith app and create an account. And if you've been with us for a while, you won't have to start from zero. We've compiled everyone's purchase history from the past 12 years, so all of your points will immediately be added to your account when you sign up. While you do gain points through purchases, it was important for us to make sure this wasn't the only way. You can also earn points through achievements. Some of them include checking in at any of our flagships, or coming to any of our pop-ups, or simply completing your account preferences in the app. Your total points will place you in one of 3 tiers, whose names are inspired by our color palette: Molecule, Elevation, and Vitality. And each tier offers different benefits. These range anywhere from early access to collections, to invitations to different events, and many more. But here's what I'm most excited about: the tier exclusive products. We've designed exclusive capsules for all 3 tiers, and they will be made to order solely for loyalty members. The products vary for each tier, and each product's colorway is based on its tier's name. These will never be sold to any customers outside of the loyalty members.
I'm going to stop it there because I think that's the most important element of this. These will never be sold outside of the loyalty members. These are entirely exclusive. That's huge. And I think it can work for anybody, but it especially works for Kith. And I'm going to hit some of the sort of wave tops of what Alexa had to say about it, which is why it works for Kith. So here's what she said. I've loved Kith for years, so I've already been on the higher end of the LTV spectrum. Basically, she's saying she spent a lot of money with them. There's no doubt in my mind that Kith's new loyalty program is going to turn tens of thousands of happy customers into brand evangelists. And for the slice of their 3 million Instagram followers that haven't purchased yet, let alone how massive their owned lists are. Owned lists are like people who are subscribed to their emails or their text messages. The program's new benefits are the perfect reason or incentive to buy and later fall in love with a new favorite brand. So what's so genius about it? So first of all, you need to download the Kith app. She's saying there's lots of data that when you have people buy on an app instead of on your mobile website, it improves their conversion rate, average order value, and revenue per session. Basically, a higher number of those people who are there convert and buy something than happens on your website, and they spend more when they do buy something. You can also send them push notifications, right? So people download the app, you can send push notifications directly to their mobile device, anytime you drop something new or they're close to hitting a new loyalty tier or something like that. Kith's number 2, Kith's reward program offers customers more than just discounts. So as Ronnie Feig said, they have to, it's not just discounts, they get early access to new drops, which is huge in exclusive retail, like what Kith is. They're like high-end exclusive retail. It's men's t-shirts that cost $50 to $500, right? So new drops, which are almost always limited edition and sell out quickly. Premier experiences and exclusive capsule collections based on your tier. I think the exclusive capsule collections is pretty genius. Here's one thing she says here. She says, loyalty programs that encourage customers to spend $300 just to earn $10 in credit are so blah. Kith isn't launching a points program. They're launching an experience. This, 1000% this. Most loyalty, the reason customer loyalty is so boring to talk about is one, because it like you can just tell. You can tell when you say, let's talk about customer loyalty, that it's going to be a friggin' boring conversation. Like if I heard that in high school, I would be like, okay, well, I'll go to sleep. Let me know when class is over. So this is the reason it's boring, is because all of it is just like, oh, you get 10% if you refer a friend, and like all this stupid stuff that's really forced, and it's not easy for customers to do, and just nobody cares. The only loyalty programs that kind of work are like coffee shops that do some kind of punch card or something like that. And even then it's like not great, but at least it kind of works, right? This is like more of an experience to interact with the brand and become like a deeper, like more kind of become more of a community with other people who also are into something that you're into, which is high-end fashion. She said, this is our third point, Kith's existing loyal customers will be rewarded for all their historical purchases. Kith is about 12 years old, meaning that many, many customers have already spent a lot of money with them. They made sure to compile that and put you in the loyalty tier you belong in based on your past purchases. That means you don't have to start from zero. This is big, I think, because you need your current customers to adopt the loyalty program. If your current customers adopt it, then it will be a success. And if you basically say, hey, you get to level 5 right away, then they're going to adopt it. Her fourth point, you can earn points for more than just purchases. So there's gamified achievements layer built in. Further gamifying rewards for their largely millennial and Gen Z audience is a brilliant move. Basically, millennials and Gen Zs love video games. If you give them a game-like experience where they can gain points and unlock achievements for doing things like buying, but also doing things like just visiting a store or completing the preferences in their app and stuff like that. It gives them little dopamine hits, and it brings them to in real life shopping experiences. She says, draw them to real life shopping experiences, which is ingenious because they have mega optimized retail stores and mega talented sales reps on the floor. This is how you make people mega obsessed with your mega brand. I added the last 2 megas. Her fifth point is there are 3 rewards tiers from the color of each digital rewards tier. Basically, the rewards tiers are matched to their brand colors, which is cool. She said, basically, Kith people love design. The dedication to naming each tier and thoughtfully designing their digital loyalty cards helps shoppers develop an even deeper relationship with Kith's brand. Plus, Kith's founder, Ronnie, is an ex-sneaker designer. This audience is obsessed with aesthetics, right? So he knows what he built. He knows that they're going to like this sort of like very branded, like super, like a dope looking experience, right? Rewards tiers unlock access to unique community events, drawing together crowds of brand fans. Here's what she said here, and I'm just going to read this because I think it's a good point. You know how groupthink works? Typically, it's not considered a good thing. But if you're an e-com brand and you're putting a bunch of brand loyalists with credit cards in their wallets in the same thing, groupthink is going to make you money. Full stop. Great point. And her personal favorite, also my personal favorite, each rewards tier unlocks access to an exclusive capsule wardrobe. She said, coming from a sneaker genius, I expect nothing less. Yep, in the sneaker game, it's all about drops. It's all about exclusivity. But this team knows their audience. Kith is already a high price point product. For example, men's tees run from $50 to $600. I said that earlier. This brand operates on luxury and exclusivity. Kith people see other people wearing Kith and they comment on it. It's like a secret society. Now imagine seeing someone wearing a shirt from a brand you love and you want to buy it. You ask where they got it. You find out you can't unlock access to the purchase until you spend X dollars. She's saying that's a huge driver. And then she said, bonus, these capsules are items that are made to order, which is incredibly luxe. And then additional bonus, and this is what I think is like the freaking cherry on top of this whole thing, is each capsule includes products in the colorway that aligns with that of the tier. So if you want exclusive items in blue, which is tier 2, you have to get into that tier. Furthermore, the capsule, like as I understand it, like if you're in blue tier and you get the first blue tier capsule, you can't get that if you join blue tier later, right? So you've got to you want to get into the best tier as quickly as possible so that you can get the capsule in the colorway you like. And again, imagine being out in the world and seeing somebody that is in blue tier wearing like you guys are both wearing an item that is exclusive to you and nobody gets it, or you see somebody in another tier, like it sort of creates this sort of caste system. You see somebody in another tier and they know you're in blue tier and you know they're in the other tier. Sorry, I can't remember the actual tier names. This is pretty huge. So basically she said Kith launched their announcement video on their social profiles around 9 a.m. Eastern time on January 25th. They already have hundreds of comments, thousands of likes. This is going to go absolutely blow up. Bravo to the Kith team. Same from me. Absolutely genius. Look, here's the thing. Loyalty is boring because it is like, for the most part, not sexy. It's cookie cutter. Everybody kind of does the same thing. They really considered we're not talking about a loyalty program. We're talking about how do we just make the brand experience better for people who have purchased from us and like us, right? And then they went from there. It's custom tailored to their customers, which brings me to my next post that I think is kind of funny. So this is a post from Mike Manheim, who is the CMO at Postscript, which text message. It's a text messaging app. So if you have people who've subscribed to get text message, if you're a brand and you have people who've subscribed to get text messages from you, that's what Postscript does. So Mike said, RIP to all the D2C marketers. That's e-commerce marketers who are going to wake up to a why aren't we doing this Slack from their CEO with a link to the Kith launch. I think we've all had this boss. Personally, I think this guy would come 6 months later, right? Like you'd watch this, you'd be like, this is cool. You'd implement what you could for your brand, but you'd realize this is custom made for Kith. It wouldn't work for us. Then your CEO goes to some weekend seminar 6 months from now, or some event 6 months from now. Comes back and he's like, have you heard of this Kith thing? And you're like, yeah, dude, get freaking, you need to let me do my job. This main point being here that this works for Kith. This is custom made for Kith. It would not work really for any other brand. The lesson is custom make it for your brand. The lesson isn't to copy what Kith is doing. And the reason they've done a good job is because they've custom made it for their customers. All right, so that's it. That's our stuff today. Remember to follow me wherever you're watching and comment to tell me whether you would be willing to adopt an environment, a world where many of our interactions are virtual. Many of our current ones that are personal in person would be virtual. Would you want to live in that world? Would you do that? Would you adopt that? I'm going to give one person who answers that question in the comments an Apple Vision Pro, $3,500 Apple Vision Pro. Also, tell me why or why not as a bonus. If you run an e-commerce brand or an agency that works with e-commerce brands and you want a scoreboard that shows you your most important numbers like your profit, where your sales are coming from, which products bring in your highest value customers, then check out Triple Whale. Go to triplewhale.com or just Google Triple Whale. Whatever platform you're watching this on, do all the things people say to do on that platform, subscribe, follow, leave a comment, all that stuff. This has been Whale Informed. Get it? Because it's Triple Whale, Whale Informed. It's a pun. We do a lot of whale puns. This has been Whale Informed. We'll see you next time.